Hello, I'm back. Today, I'm going to be talking about how much of a threat to society puppet combo killers are. Before starting today, I want to thank everyone for the support on my last video, and I hope you all enjoy this. Global catastrophes occur way more often than not, but which catastrophe involving puppet combo could serve as the most catastrophic? For the sake of this video, I'm going to be scaling from least threatening to most threatening to human society as we know it. Both Puppet Combo made and Puppet Combo published games will be on this list. This does not insinuate same universe canon for Torture Star and Puppet Combo or any other devs if mentioned on this list. So, after analysis and deliberation, I've decided that the least threatening Puppet Combo killer would be the Ding Dong Ditcher Ripper. I say this because of how easily he was contained for a decade straight, how he is killed in his games with a small firearm, and how he has a low body count compared to some of the people on this list. The Ditcher Ripper is not very intimidating, and while being psychopathic with murderous intent, he is also just as crazy as your average psychopath. Neighborhood Watch. The Ditcher Ripper has a body count of 5 unnamed people. In this game, there are multiple endings, and the player can determine if Rex, Hip G, and Hillary are murdered by the Ditcher Ripper. He takes extreme inspiration from Michael Myers, and even has his own doctor that accuses him of being absolute evil. Despite the fact of all this, he shows some of the least malevolent behavior out of all the killers. The Ditcher Ripper is only about as threatening as the average home invader with intent to kill. Neighborhood Watch. The second killer on this list is going to be the Easter Ripper, with potential damage to human society clocking in at county-wide. We know for a fact that the Ripper has 10 confirmed victims, 7 children, and 3 adults, 1 presumed victim, and an attempt to kill him. We know that the Ripper can take shots from firearms including pistols and shotguns. Maybe this is due to bulletproof armor under his costume, but there is irrefutable inhuman strength, being able to lift people up with one arm before slaughtering them. The Ripper is not very fast, seeming to stalk his victims like Ghostface. The Ripper is sadistic and likes to play games, but is by no means a mastermind. At this point in time, the Easter Ripper is the only killer who is a confirmed child predator. The Easter Ripper's reign lasted from March of 1979 to sometime in 1988. The most concerning piece of information I uncovered about the Ripper is his ties to the CFV. This doesn't add up well with me, however, because the Easter Ripper strikes me as a power control killer instead of a visionary. I will explain more about the CFV later, but for now remember that they hold ties to some of the most dangerous killers on this list, with the exception being the Easter Ripper. We, in the United States, are dealing right now with many people on par with the Easter Ripper. So if society were to deal with a real Tom Smith? Wait. We have. The Easter Ripper is a killer that has parallels to John Wayne Gacy, who is an American serial killer who reigned from 1972 to 1978. With all this being said, the killer is a threat to counties, but could be cleared by a SWAT team or county police department. County-wide. I'm going to place The Nun right above the Easter Ripper because she is a sham. If you read the novel about the nun published by Puppet Combo in 2021, you find out that the nun can't teleport, doesn't have super speed, doesn't have super strength, and is actually Miss McDonald from the Nun Massacre video game. The nun is going to be in danger to self and others. Despite this, the nun has a body count of 65 plus in the novel, which does show danger but also instability, as the nun is self-destructive and an alter ego constructed from the imagination of Mrs. McDonald. The nun being an alter ego also means that at times McDonald is docile and unaware of the crimes that they have committed, which would make them easy to catch if they got caught on camera in a psychosis-induced episode. Danger to self and others. Next up would probably be the Night Ripper. The Night Ripper is only very menacing in the city, with his winning environment being alleys and slums. Citywide. The Night Ripper has 5 confirmed victims, 2 unnamed prostitutes, Lisa Mueller, an unidentified mutilated torso, and the Rude prostitute. He goes on to have 2 potential victims, with those being Rhonda and Rachel. There was 1 prostitute who survived their encounter with the Night Ripper. The Night Ripper has an apparent hyperfixation with murdering prostitutes. The only reason I say that the Night Ripper is more dangerous than the Easter Ripper is because the Easter Ripper attacks a lot more ritualistically instead of being like the Night Ripper who just cruises at night searching for victims. I'd like to think that if the Night Ripper amped up danger by killing a considerable amount of people, the police would take action regarding cities in low-income areas. The Night Ripper is supposedly based on a killer whose identity was never revealed, this killer being Jack the Ripper, citywide. This take might be debatable, but I chose to place Larry here. This placement is because Larry has never been threatened with lethal force, being deemed mentally ill since a very young age. Because of this, I gave Larry the interesting placement of statewide. I know I just stated that Larry has never been up against lethal force, but that probably has you wondering why Larry is higher than the Easter Ripper who has been seen being shot. This is because of the hedonistic nature of Larry. While previous killers on this list have been known to single out their victims, Larry goes on killing sprees with as many victims as 20 to 30 at a time. Larry has a total count of 173 confirmed victims, with one being his Aunt Claire who babysat him. This is presumably what got him placed where he was in Christmas Massacre. It is also implied that Larry killed his mother, but this has not been confirmed. He has no specific target, he just wants to inflict as much pain as possible, and there is no known pattern to his killing sprees. The only thing about Larry is that he usually attacks during December to January and goes dormant. I mean, unless Texas Butcher changes this theory, but I'm not sure of the timeline. I do believe that he could hold a threat of statewide level because his lethal attacks are on public domains with an 100% fatality rate of every building that he enters, statewide. The driller killer is a lot more dangerous than a man with the mind of a 3-year-old child should be. I placed the driller killer above Larry for multiple reasons. 1. Larry was successfully captured and placed in a ward. 2. The driller killer has never been close to having met a match, taking on anyone without fear. The driller killer is going to go in a unique category of dead upon contact. This is due to his body count of 22, consisting of 12 campers, 7 workers of the Brandon Sawmill, Jim, Christine Wilbur, and Richard. Larry also has a high lethality rate, but unlike Larry, the driller killer has never been apprehended and has his own massive domain. My theory is that the driller killer isn't capable of fear because even though it's a primal emotion, he's in a permanent predatory state due to how he's not advanced at all mentally but kills and hunts humans with precision. Even if the police or a SWAT team were to make advancements on the driller killer's hideout, he is crafty and lives in a labyrinth, of which he is the only one who knows the layout. It would get so bad that they may have to even quarantine the area in which the driller killer lives in an attempt to starve him out. This would definitely be no easy feat, as the killer is adept in what he does, but I feel like he could be backed into a corner and applied with enough force to prove lethal. Dead upon contact. Next up is going to be Dylan Miller. Now this placement is going to come across as odd to many of you, but first let me tell you what it is. Unknown. His corpse disappeared? What the fuck? How does your corpse disappear? Dylan himself is probably about as threatening as the Easter Ripper, but if he could run, so that's fair, but he disappeared after being shot by the cops, which is like, yeah, he was shot by the cops, he's weak, he lost to a cop, but no! His corpse literally disappeared from the scene. What does that imply? I don't know, he pulled a switcheroo on him, I guess. I can't place Dylan fairly on this list because his body disappeared, so we don't know if he's at large or what. He's killed 23 people so far. We don't know how he survived a house fire as a baby! Unknown. Above Miller is going to be the Chainsaw Killer from Buzzsaw Bloodhouse. The Chainsaw Killer is only this high up because of influence, going into the crime wave tier. Now, we do not know if the Chainsaw Killer is responsible for all of the Buzzsaw Bloodhouse, but in this case we are going to assume he is, with a victim count somewhere up in the hundreds at least. This killer could influence more sick people to become copycat killers like many other famous killers have influenced in the past. He may not be as dangerous as any of the other killers on this list, besides maybe the Ditcher Ripper, but he has a platform to contact other sick individuals who enjoy the things that he does, and maybe convince them to do the same. Crime wave. Next up, we are going to have the Womb Ripper. The Womb Ripper earned this placement because of the life after death effect it exerted in Bloodwash. Many things are unclear about the Womb Ripper. How does she get her strength? How does she come back from the dead after clearly losing copious amounts of blood? Maybe it's because of her Ohio Riz. The Womb Ripper is going to be into our first bigger category, with that being militaristic. The Womb Ripper has a confirmed body count of 78, being composed of 72 pregnant women. Lewis Kennedy, Officer Burton, the laundromat employee, at least one officer worker, the patron that you talk with in Bloodwash near the beginning of when you arrive, and Doug. She is treated as such a major threat because she is the first killer on this list that is confirmed to resurrect after presumed death and or fatal injury. Some think the abilities she has gained are able to be credited to demonic rituals performed, perhaps with fetuses or other ungodly methods. The Womb Ripper is a major threat to society and needs to be carefully watched after for society to operate the same, as she is extremely durable. Militaristic. This next guy is a straight menace. I'm going to give you a few seconds to go ahead and guess who it is. I'm sure some of you have been waiting for this iconic puppet combo killer, with him being Nicholas Burr. Nicholas Burr has been known to murder people with his bare hands, receiving great enjoyment out of murder, even being disappointed when his victims don't put up a good fight. Nicholas once had a family and just came home one day and killed them all, brutally. The lore is that the mask he wears is undersized because it belongs to his daughter. Nicholas Burr is going to go into unstoppable. Nicholas has only 7 confirmed victims, but has been known to overkill them in brutal ways. Burr has been known to survive a gunshot to the back, an axe in the shoulder, being blinded temporarily, and ran over simultaneously. Now, even though he has a small confirmed body count and other PC villains prior to this have been known to survive more, it's the fact that everyone knows he's not done. And if he is a mirror to Michael Myers, he is going to be a continuous threat until his obsession is dead and he can move on to a new target. The only reason he is beaten out by other people is because he can't kill a lot of people at once. While still killing them, other puppet combo villains higher on the list do it faster or with more connection to the CFV. Before going further, I feel a need to explain more about the CFV. Well, to the best of my abilities. The CFV is said to be a denomination of Baptist Protestants. At least this is what they tell the public. The real CFV, or Church of the Father's Vision, is a cult that appears to worship entities such as the bunker creature from Stay Out of the House or the Hole from Feed Me Philly. This cult has strong ties in Texas, Kentucky, and Oklahoma. They are prominent in towns of Cedarville, Mill Creek, and Georgetown. They have been known to fearmonger people into following them. The CFV initially started as a secret government-funded agency which studied the positive effects of radiation, having been known to run since 1966 up to October 27th of 1980, where they started to focus on the radiation effects of living animals. They noted that normal radiation waves didn't do much effect, but the audio of VHS tapes could cause telepathic communication amongst each other within 60 days. This was unwanted, however, so they just said screw it and started blasting them with more radiation, which didn't do what they wanted, so they just started killing everything because they were tired of messing with it. This eventually turned into the creatures which exist in Feed Me Billy and Stay Out of the House. These creatures possibly have telepathic links with what we see of the Hole communicating with Billy and Feed Me Billy. This could be the link that Billy has formed with this creature due to long form exposure to CFV material. Now, the Butcher can also be presumed to be under the same influence with the bunker creature. The demon dog from Stay Out of the House can also be assumed to be a CFV-based experiment. With all this said, let's move on. In the final few killers here, we have Puppet Combo's most devastating killers, which are mostly hand-in-hand with the CFV. Appearing first as the less threatening is going to be Billy. Billy is this high up not because of him himself, but because of the hole that hungers throughout Feed Me Billy. Billy is going to go into apocalyptic. Billy has 6 confirmed unnamed victims. This monstrous entity has apocalyptic potential and could bring about the end of times without anyone knowing. After giving this creature enough human sacrifices, a goat appearing to be made out of flesh will rise out of the flesh hole into the sky. The majority of people affiliated with Christianity have heard of Revelations, which is a Christian event that will bring about the end of times, with goats being a symbolic harbinger of this catastrophic event. It is assumed that humanity was not yet ended because Feed Me More Billy was once in development. We can assume, however, that this game will never be finished due to Puppet Combo recently attempting to take a step back from game development entirely. Now, even though they changed their mind, it is still a low probability that Feed Me Billy will ever be finished. Apocalyptic. Puppet Combo, respond to me. I know you see me on Instagram. Please, Puppet Pop. Up next is going to be the Night Shift Abductor. The Night Shift Abductor uses many weapons and he is cruel, only caring about presumably serving the CFV. The Night Shift Abductor has been seen turning the sky red, exposing strangers to CFV tapes maybe as an indoctrination method, sacrificing people to the bunker monster, mutilating people and butchering their corpses, abducting night shift workers, and being an all-around evil being. For all of this, the Abductor is going to be up there with Billy in Apocalyptic. He has killed and probably also sacrificed an unspecified amount of homeless people and travelers. He has abducted at least 6 night shift employees and killed Brendan. The Night Shift Abductor is going to be another harbinger of death and annihilation. He doesn't care about anything besides his CFV work, which may very well kill everyone on this planet. If the bunker monster had enough sacrifices, it may bring a catastrophic event which could trigger the end of the world as we know it. The Night Shift Abductor is one of the most horrifying killers in video game history. Out of all Puppet Combo villains, this is the last one you want to be put up against. For all these reasons, the Night Shift Abductor is going to be the most dangerous Puppet Combo killer. Although I just said that the Night Shift Abductor was the most dangerous Puppet Combo killer, I didn't say that he was the most dangerous Puppet Combo published killer. With that being Father Friedstein, I think. He literally opens the gates of hell onto Earth and created a massive devastation and then turned into a demon. He is going into devastation and annihilation. I'm also going to credit him for all the murders that went on with the gates of hell being opened, which is probably uncountable. Devastation and annihilation. Well, that was a really good video. I'm glad I made that. I'm glad we finally got through all those killers. It really did take a second. What? No. I don't want to talk about him. Okay, fine. I guess I will. Santa from Planet of the Bloodthirsty Santa is a planetary threat. He has an army of minions, a planet all to himself, and murderous intent, which he has soldiers of chaos to follow in his will of exasperating onto all of Earth. He might be a threat above the level of the CFV. If Santa ever wanted to perform a planetary scale invasion, he could very well jack someone's spaceship, fly to Earth, and kill everyone. And that's not even the scariest part. How did this guy come to be? Everyone knows Santa, but how do we learn of him if he's an alien with a humanoid build? How did he get his own planet? How old is he? What do they eat on his planet? Why is Santa covered in blood all over his mouth? He's a cannibal. It's in his name. It's literally, so it's bloodthirsty. Okay. He's probably going to come to Earth and cannibalize the whole planet. And oh my gosh, we're going to die. We're dead.